Good morning, everyone. This is Phil Pugh. We're going to go ahead and get started with our monthly coalition meeting here. Looks like we got about 30 folks online. So a decent turnout. Hopefully we get a few more folks in. But we'll go ahead and get started. Here's the basic roll call. We're going to go through our standard agenda. As we discussed over the last 2 months, since we've now moved to a themed event, we'd like to keep our standard agenda items fairly brief so we can give some of the presenters following up enough time to cover specific topics. And again, this month we will be discussing, as you can see at the bottom, some National Weather Service information that we'd like to share with some of our partners that we have here online. And what we did in our HVA review, we did conduct an HVA workshop a couple of weeks ago. Most of you should have received, if not all of you, should have received copies of those meeting minutes to see what we discussed, but we will follow up and so we can get a little bit more input from the coalition as we kind of move forward. So with all that being said, let's conduct our roll call. We'll start with our hospitals with Anderson Hospital.
Hey, Phil, this is Eric representing Anderson and Community Hospital Staunton.
Awesome. Good morning, Eric. How about Alton?
Good morning, Phil. Aaron here from Alton.
Morning, Aaron. Thank you. Boyd. Hearing no one. I don't think I see Nancy on. We'll move on to Fayette. I know I saw Tina on. I think I see her. I see her camera. Gotcha. Gotcha. Thank you, Tina. Gateway. No folks for Gateway. Okay. Well, let's go on down to our HSHS partners. How about Holy Family?
Cindy from Holy Families here.
Thank you so much, Cindy. And St. E's?
Brad here with St. E's.
Gotcha, Brad. St. Joe's Breeze?
Stacy's here from Breeze.
Thank you, Stacy. And St. Joe's Highland?
Patrick here from Highland, sir.
And thank you, Patrick. My eyes skipped right over Carlinville Area Hospital. You know Carlinville on? I got you, Tyler. I see you in the chat. Sorry. My apologies. Great minds think alike or think diametrically opposed, apparently, because I skipped you and you noted it. Appreciate it. Jersey Community Hospital.
Yeah, this is Nick with Jersey Community.
Gotcha, Nick. Thank you. From Memorial Hospital, Belleville, you got myself and Lee on. I don't know if Scott is on. Scott, are you on? And I believe Mike is out today. All right, we'll move down to Memorial Hospital in Chester.
This is Georgia. I'm here.
Morning, Georgia. Thank you. OSF St. Anthony's. No Gary today. Okay. How about Redbud?
This is Tara. Redbud's here.
Morning, Tara. Sparta. More from Sparta on today. Nope. And Touche. Okay, moving over to the health department, Bond County.
This is Wendy. I'm here.
Thank you, Wendy. Calhoun.
Megan's here from Calhoun.
Gotcha, Megan. Thank you. Clinton County. Eastside Health District. See Charmaine on. Okay. Fayette County. Anyone from Fayette? Greene County? Jersey County? Macoupin County? Monroe County?
Nikki here.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Randolph County?
Deborah's here.
Thank you, Deb. And St. Clair.
Tara's here. Good morning.
Good morning. Over to our community partners, our regional, our REMSC. Let's say it's quicker. Greg, are you on?
Thanks. I'm
Gotcha.
on, Phil.
Thank you. How about our ERC? Beth, are you on?
Hi, Phil. Beth is here.
Thank you so much. Any of our BJC partners on this morning? Okay, hearing none. Any of our emergency management agency partners on this morning from the counties?
Good morning, Phil. This is Sam.
Thank you, Sam. Got Sam. Anyone else? About the good folks at MedStar?
I'm with you.
Gotcha, John. Thank you. Anyone from Abbott on this morning? Move over to SLU. Hearing none. Scott Air Force Base.
Hey, Phil, Tim here.
Morning, Tim. Thank you so much. And any of our STARS partners? Okay. And anyone from the St. Louis Healthcare Coalition? As for folks, I do see that popped up in the chat. I do see you, Vicky. Got Tyler, Jacob over at Madison County Health Department. Did I skip you guys? Man, sorry. Paula from IPHCA and Eric from the VA. We're going to just add you to the roll call list, Eric, and Carla from American Red Cross. Awesome. Okay, if you're on and you didn't get called upon, or you maybe joined a little bit late, please just toss your information in the chat. We'll make sure that we get you accounted for. Based some due outs, open tasks, a few things that we have from the last meeting. Two top ones are closed. The third one, though, Eric, I don't know if this was something that we actually any additional context to with regard to the exercise details. I know we were supposed to be forwarding out some information. Did we get that out? I don't know if you or Lee, or if we provided any of that specific information from our last meeting. Lee or Eric, do you one of you guys know? Because I don't recall it being accomplished. If not, we can get whatever information out we still need to be able to get out.
Yeah, I
and
know
was
what
it
we did.
And that was for and I'm pretty sure that was for the active shooter exercise.
Yeah, correct. So I got a hold of the Moulage practitioners, and what I'm doing today is actually we're finalizing the time frame for the exercise for 8 November, and I'll be pushing that out to Lee and to the folks that have volunteered to help support the operation.
Okay. And Patrick, I'm sorry, I don't know if again, just following up on this one, did we not get you the information of who from HSHS did not respond?
No, I don't have that information. Sorry.
Okay, I will immediately following this, I'll just double check. I thought that I got everyone, or we got a click back for everyone, but I will follow up right after this. And I see Vicky about an agenda. No agenda went out. It's kind of a standing meeting, so it's a standing agenda. So it's just repetitive, except for the added theme at the end of each agenda for each meeting. So we cut out agendas maybe 4 years ago, 5 years, somewhere around there. And we didn't get an opportunity to get it out. Gotcha. Okay. All right, we'll start with Greg. Greg, IDPH, what we got?
Good morning, everybody. I don't have much from HPP because I know you cover that in the standing agenda. I did want to do a shout out and kudos regarding our fire at the Touche Senior Apartments. Wanted to thank Phil and Lee and Mike Gilbert from the Coalition and BJC. John Nowak from MedStar, Charme from Eastside, the staff from Touche Regional Hospital, Eric Perham from VA, who was assisting one of our veterans, American Red Cross, and all the other first responders. Though we did have a fatality, which is tragic, as the mayor of Cahokia Heights said, it could have been far worse without all of these people who provided their services. So from an IDPH standpoint, all of that information was pushed up. Appreciate the communication that night from all those folks, and just wanted to say thank you from the state. And that's all I have, Phil.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, Greg. Yeah, and that was a, tough situation to kind of work through, but a lot of teamwork on out there. And as I know, John Nowak would probably say, we have exercises, even if we don't have one that's a fire at an apartment as the center point to it, but we make those connections and are able to reach out to those who can provide assistance when it's required. And I would like to extend some of that out to Sam Bierman over in St. Clair County Health Department, St. Clair County EMA now, and Brian Whitaker and Herb Simmons. They also provided support out there along with our American Red Cross partners as well. So a huge team effort. And thanks to my guys. I told them great job when they left here, but it's hard to get out there and end up sleeping in the cot that night with the folks. Just a lot of hard work went into that. I'm sure we're going to have some more after actions and follow up to go on with that. But a lot of lessons learned, I will say. Things that you would think are kind of nailed down pretty good, or that you think, in the back of your mind that, oh yeah, so-and-so is going to take care of this, or so-and-so is going to take care of that, may not happen. But you got to be able to improvise and make things happen. So thank you for everyone who did respond that night. And for those folks who did update their beds and all that type of stuff, thankfully we did not have to fully expand to meet the needs. But again, great response all the way around. Anybody have any questions with regard to that response, since we're talking about it, or had anything that they wanted to offer up?
Hey, Phil, this,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I agree with all of you. Everyone did a fantastic job on a pretty fast-moving, high-pressure situation. I would encourage, and it sounds like you guys are planning some kind of a after action. I think there's a lot, as you said, lessons learned and things that we probably need to improve on that hopefully we can capture while it's still all fresh in our minds.
Indeed, we will, and hopefully we will definitely kind of cast that net out to make sure we're capturing everyone's feedback. All right, and I see Chuck on there. Thanks, Chuck. Yeah, your team did a great job, so thank you very much. All right, keeping it abridged, like I kind of said, we'll move on. So Beth, any updates?
Yes. So all I was going to say in general for the health departments, they're all really busy this time of the year doing vaccine clinics, drive-throughs, A lot of them are getting creative and incorporating Halloween theme, October theme, making it fun for kids and the adults. But they're really busy trying to get 3 vaccines out to the people who need it. So I think they're doing a great job. We at IDPH are starting a campaign called Sneezin' to try to promote vaccination and preventing the spread of these infectious diseases, these viruses. I have not seen anything down here yet. Hopefully it'll be coming out soon. As far as diseases, just real quick, there has been a malaria case, a non-travel case in Arkansas. I know it started out, way down south, but it seems like it's moving north a bit. So just for you hospital people to keep an eye out. Measles. There was a measles case in Cook County earlier. It's about the middle of October. That was the first case in 3-4 years. Health departments usually get pretty excited about measles because it is so easily spread. As far as I know, they kept it confined to just that one person. It was a bit of a challenge because that person didn't want to cooperate, but I think we're past the incubation period now. Wastewater surveillance and hospitalizations for COVID and influenza were slightly elevated, but they're dropping back off now, which is good. RSV is trending up, at least it was a few weeks ago, so much so that IDPH medical director sent a letter to healthcare providers offering technical advice and encouraging promoting the RSV vaccine. And I think that's all I had, unless someone has some questions.
Hey, Beth.
Yes.
I was watching Pluto the other day, which is a streaming service, a free streaming service, so it has ads on it. And I think I only watched for about an hour, but there were 3 IDPH vaccine commercials on in that hour.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Good.
Wow. And Beth, what was the name of the campaign again? I think you came in a little broken when you said the name of it. What's it?
Sorry. Tis the Sneezin'. SNEASON.
Nice. Tis
Beth,
the
this is
sneezing.
Sam. I heard it was either on 92.3 or 93.7 this morning on the way to work, a commercial that was part of that.
All right. Good deal.
Awesome.
So, yeah, if you want to, push that through your social media, through your contacts, I believe you are more than welcome as long as you give IDPH credit.
Awesome. Thank you.
And
Any
that's it.
questions for Beth?
Mhm.
All right. I don't think we had any stars folks join, so we'll slide by. And I know Jason said he was not, I don't think he's going to be able to make it today. Anyone from either stars or the St. Louis Regional Healthcare Coalition?
Hey, Phil,
Okay,
I
hearing
can
none.
speak to
Oh.
Phil Itzley. I can speak to some of that. For those that aren't aware, they have their first Healthcare Coalition Summit scheduled for next week, November the 9th at the St. Louis University Hospital. They currently are full. However, if you want to go on the wait list, they may let you know if space opens. And if this goes well, they're planning on making this an annual event. The presentations that they're planning right now are like mass fatality planning, a briefing from the FBI regarding ongoing threats, some information from fusion centers, as well as some GIS and other things. The other thing that was mentioned, they're working currently a lot like we are. As Brad can attest, we had this discussion during the nursing home incident, working on regional caches. What do we have available? What resources exist? What condition are they in? And things of that nature. So they're doing the same as us. Be on the lookout because we will be sending out some surveys to find out what exists. That way we're better prepared for the next time we have to evacuate something. And then they're still working on some of their normal traditional AARs for different events that have occurred. And they will share that with us as they get it. They did also offer, if anybody from this side of the river wants to submit a project on the UASI grant through STARS, the submission window closes on December 1st. If you need help, reach out to Phil or I, and we can put you in contact with the right people.
Awesome. Great job reading those notes, Jason. And that was going to be my job, but you did a great job at it. I think we're going to double back on you here in a minute, Lee. So there you go. So Lee, from a REMERT perspective, what do we got?
So we continue to do our monthly trainings. We've, as was already said, we were out on both the fire rehab for the evacuation, as well as myself and Mike Gilbert were on site at the shelter operation from about 7 o'clock the day of the fire until 2 the next day, supporting any medical needs, in addition to a truck from MedStar for transport. Made for a very, very, very long evening. However, nothing had to be done, so it wasn't too bad. Beyond that, we do have some upcoming trainings that we're working on. We're putting together some things supporting some of our community partners as well. I believe John and Leanne are going to be teaching a Stop the Bleed class on behalf of the coalition for some Belleville schools coming up in the very near future. We do have Stop the Bleed training equipment. If you have an interest in doing that within your community, reach out to us and we can get some assistance from REMERT to help teach that. We have qualified instructors, as well as, like I say, the 2 travel kits to be able to do that. Really, other than that, not much else from REMERT right now.
Awesome. Any questions for Lee? Nope. All right. Hearing that there are no questions there, before we go into our National Weather Service briefing, I did want to just say, just as a quick note, with regard to the grant. Generally, we are pending. We are pending submissions for each one of your organizations who have put in a project request. So they're being reviewed right now. So what we end up doing, just so you know, Grants Management Office, they've reviewed all of the project proposals. They provided stuff out to a few folks with regard to assessments, internal assessments and audits. And then after that, they will take the information that they have gathered. And then that information that we've gathered at this point, they're under review by the manager over at the Grants Management Office. So I would predict maybe about 2 weeks. Within the next 2 weeks, folks will start receiving their kind of contracts. As soon as you get that information, get it signed off, get it back, and that will enable you guys to start spending money. So be on the lookout for that. All right, I'm going to pause for a quick second. I'm going to allow Lee to introduce Kevin, and then we'll get started. So Lee, I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right, so this is Kevin Deitch. He's our, correct me if I'm wrong, severe storms forecaster. He's the dude we turn to when we need support. He also helps, I believe, with some of the Skywarn activities. So for those that are interested, and he's going to give you guys some information on the services and some of the tools that they have available for the region.
Perfect. Can you guys hear me okay?
Loud and clear.
Awesome. Let me share my screen here. Just a second. All right. Hopefully, can you guys see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, thanks for the introduction, Lee. My name's Kevin Deitch, kind of the severe weather forecaster. I'm what's called a warning coordination meteorologist here It's kind of a fancy title, but really my job here is the external liaison for our office. So I deal a lot with partners such as yourselves, whether it's on the healthcare hospital side to the emergency management, law enforcement, fire, etc. So I do a lot outside the office and a lot of this kind of presentation. So really excited to talk to you all today to kind of give you just a real brief overview of some of the tools that we have available to you. I will be up front. This is my first day back from about 7 weeks off. I was on paternity leave. So if I'm kind of a jumbled mess, sleepless, all that plays into it. So I apologize in advance for that. But this will be kind of informal. So if things come up during the presentation, feel free. I've got my chat here on the right. So feel free to throw something in chat and I'll try to get to your questions as we go. All right, so a little bit about National Weather Service. What the heck do we do? Most of you probably know us through our warnings, right? So we're the ones that put out the tornado warnings, the severe thunderstorm warnings. But we also do forecasts as well, just what you would see on TV, a 7-day forecast. We are doing that as well. And a lot of TV stations actually will kind of start with ours as a baseline and then make minor adjustments, based on their own expertise as they see fit. So this is kind of, warnings and forecasts are probably two of the main things. But one thing that we're really moving towards, and where I think this is important for all of you on this call, is aiding in decision making. This is huge for us. We call it decision support services. We want to tell MoDOT and IDOT when's it going to snow, how bad it's going to be, when is exactly going to start, because we're trying to save, our economy money. If we tell them it's going to start at 7 a.m., but it doesn't start till noon, well, that's 5 hours that they're sitting there doing absolutely nothing, wasting money. And so this is an area and meteorology in general, but especially the Weather Service that we're really trying to focus on. And so start thinking about what are some of your thresholds when it comes to weather, some of the things, the information and decisions that you need to make, because we want to make sure that we're giving you that information that you need. So this picture here down at the bottom right, some of you may recognize this person here is Governor Parson from Missouri. So we actually did this was right around COVID, actually. It's kind of where we're all spread out in here. But he came in and did he was curious about the flood outlook for a particular spring a couple of years ago. So this is, again, some of the things that we're starting to do more of. Then we do a lot of outreach as well. Lee mentioned the storm spotter trainings that I do. That's certainly part of it. But we're getting more into schools. We're getting especially more into maybe some of the more rural or vulnerable communities, or some of the more inner city and vulnerable communities. So we're trying to kind of find, the pockets of our society that are a little more vulnerable to weather. You think mobile homes, or you think folks that don't have air conditioning, that kind of thing. And so that's kind of, we're starting that kind of more in the schools here over the last couple of months. But we can help you. So I'll go through some of these things here in a minute. We've got websites that you can use. We've got forecast information available at your fingertips. And we have a brand new tool called NWS Chat 2.0 that I'm going to go over here in a minute as well. Before I do that, though, I'm going to talk a little bit about kind of the winter. We're moving, it's cold this morning. We're moving into the winter. And so I wanted to kind of hit on how we create a winter forecast and some of the information available to you. I think a lot of people think it's the European model versus the American model, and we pick one and that's how we make a forecast. That really couldn't be further from the truth. We actually have over 100 models now, which we have available at our fingertips. And so that allows us to do something kind of unique, and it's called ensemble forecasting. But what this is basically, here on the left, here's your snow amounts, all right? So this particular forecast said, here's all these little squares represent models. So this was saying that, the lowest that a model was showing was 0 inches, but the highest the model was showing was 4 inches. And you have all these other models kind of in between that. Well, from that, we can pull all sorts of statistical information, right? We can tell you, what the 50th percent of those models are, what the 90th percent is, or what the 10th percent is, et cetera, et cetera. What this allows us to do is basically kind of give you the field goalposts of a certain snow event. So we can kind of give you the best case scenario, we only get 2 inches, but the worst case scenario, or that 90th percentile, we get up to 6 inches, right? So 2 to 6 inches is your goalpost, and then we can kind of tell you, all right, but 4 inches is the most likely amount, and that's kind of the Weather Service forecast. So if you have thresholds, so let's say 2 inches is when you plow your parking lots. We can tell you the exact percent chance of you getting over 2 inches of snow at any given location. Pretty slick stuff. And so here's kind of what that looks like. So again, This was, I think, from an event back in February of 22. But this shows you, here's the kind of the low end amount. So you can see in this particular case, the low end amount, and we'll pick on St. Louis here, was about 6 inches. But the high end amount was about 13 inches. So there's your goalpost. You're going to get at least 6 inches. You're probably not going to get any more than 13. And then from there, we can give you the most likely. Then we can also break it down by different amounts. So like I said, maybe 4 inches is some sort of critical threshold for you and your hospitals. In this particular case, we had a 94% chance of getting at least 4 inches of snow. Pretty darn high for this area. Chances of getting at least 6 inches of snow, 86% in St. Louis. Again, pretty darn high. And then you keep going up, 8 inches, 12 inches, whatever threshold you need, we can provide you. But even in this event, the chance of exceeding a foot was over 20%, which is, again, pretty high for this area, no matter what winter event we have. So to kind of, where can you get that information? I'm going to pull that up here right now. So this is called just weather.gov/LSX, or you can do weather.gov/St. Louis/winter. And all these will be at the end of the presentation, so you don't have to worry about kind of writing them down now. But I just wanted to kind of live show you what's all on here. So you pop it up, it gives you our official forecast, right? So that's that most likely. But then it gives you on the right-hand side here that kind of worst case scenario, best case scenario here on the right. And then you can also look at, there's some other things on here too. If you scroll down and you want to know, all right, what's the chance of at least getting 1/10 of an inch of snow, or what's the chance of getting 4 inches of snow? That's on there as well. Actually, I'll go back to this slide. If you want to, the chance of 12 inches, 18 inches, all that is found here down at the bottom. And then if you want more kind of a point view, so closest, out by you guys, here's Belleville, here's the low end amount, expected high end amount, and then the chance of seeing all these different values. If you want to just more of a kind of tabular percentage layout there. So again, that's all just on this website, weather.gov, St. Louis/winter. Great information for you all to have. All right, so then from that webpage and from that information, we do put together what we call these DSS packets. And again, that DSS stands for Decision Support Services. And so this is just an example of a package that we sent out for that February snowstorm back in 22 that I mentioned. So usually on the front page is kind of the key things you need to know. So again, you'll get these emailed, and if you're not on our email list, again, my email will be at the bottom or at the end here. You can shoot me an email. I'll be happy to add you to the list. But it just gives you, all right, here's what you need to know. A lot of times, if this is an event that we've looked at for 3-4 days in a row and we're sending packets every day, right up front, the first slide, we tell you what's changed. Do I need to even read this packet, or is it all the same crap, right? So I tell you right up front, important changes you need to know about, whether that's, amounts of increase, amounts of decrease, the system shifting north, south, whatever it might be, we'll have that highlighted there at the front. And then when you can expect your next briefing in your inbox. The second slide will usually show, what everyone's really most focused on is the snow amounts in case of winter. If it's severe weather, it's, what kind of threats we're looking at with severe weather. But here's the snow amounts for that particular event. You can see we're calling for about 7 to 12 inches in St. Louis. We did circle this area out by you all in portions of Illinois where it looks like we were going to get a lot of mixed precipitation. Where we get that sleet, snow, freezing rain. And a lot of times when we have the mix is when we're the least certain in the forecast. It's usually just how it goes. So we highlight that in these packets as well. So if you're in this area, you're like, all right, 5 to 9 inches in Salem, but I'm kind of in that circled area and there is some uncertainty there with the system the system shifts north or south. This was the ice forecast. If we had ice in the event, we'll obviously include, how much ice we expect. And then timing. So, let's say Salem, Illinois, when's it going to start? When's it going to end? Here's kind of a quick and dirty timing forecast for you. Again, all included in these packets. I showed this already, but in these packets as well as that best case, worst case scenario. So there's that. And then the chances of exceeding all the different thresholds, which we'll kind of quickly click through here. And then I think this last page, or one of the last pages that we have, is really important. And this is what kind of your chance to view the forecaster's confidence, right? There are plenty of events where we're really confident, like it's going to rain today, it's absolutely going to rain, or it's going to be a hit and miss kind of thing. If we get it, it's going to be bad, but if we don't, we're not going to see a thing. And so this slide attempts to explain what our confidence level is, and we're very honest about it. Like I said, in this case, we did have some mixed precipitation. So we did talk about, all right, we only have medium confidence, especially along the 44 and 70 corridors, because that's where we expected that transition to occur. But either way, no matter what kind of precip we were going to see, it was going to be hazardous to travel. And so we were highly confident we were going to have travel impacts no matter what was going to fall from the sky. So again, this is a nice slide for you all to kind of just glean a little bit into the forecaster's mind of our confidence levels. Okay, so now I want to talk about the real exciting tool, and I see Charles in there posted about NWS Chat 2.0. For those on the NWS Chat 1.0, 2.0 is totally different. I think it's going to be revolutionary to what we do. We've already started it. We're really going to kind of hit it hard this winter. All of our conference calls that we've done in the past have gone through a program called GoToWebinar. Now our conference calls will actually be out of this NWS Chat 2.0. So if you're not in it yet, again, I will show you at the end kind of how to sign up for it. I will say it's not open to just anyone. It's if you have some sort of emergency management function in a hospital, or if you have some sort of facilities function in the hospital, you know, you're responsible for plowing or salt or whatever it might be. You know, Joe Schmo, you know, nurse can't sign up for this. This is a, you know, emergency management facilities type service. So I'm going to quickly play a video on just kind of hyping it up a little bit of what some of the things that we can do with it. All right. I talked about that. So there are a couple ways to access this new app. So that is one thing too. For those familiar with the Weather Service, we don't have an app. It's as a millennial, it frustrates me. I can get on a massive soapbox about how frustrating it is. However, this is actually going to be our app now. And you saw in the video, it's called Slack. Some of you may be familiar with it. A lot of companies use it. But it's basically it's a messaging app, but we're using it basically as a dissemination tool for our services. So here on the left is kind of what the app on a phone looks like. And then here on the right is kind of what it looks like on the desktop, which is what I have pulled up here on my screen now as well. So let me just kind of briefly do a little demo here of just what it looks like. Let me pull this over here. So ignore the stuff here on the left. Those are all the different rooms that I'm in. You all won't have access to nearly that many rooms, but this main room you will. It's just St. Louis Mo. And you can see, I'll just kind of scroll up and you can see a lot of the information now. It's been fairly benign weather the last few days, but I'll scroll up to where we had those storms back when that front came through on Friday. And you can see in real time, people were sharing, oh, here is a wall cloud that was near Carlinville that afternoon, on Friday afternoon. And we had some others near Shiloh of some kind of low-hanging clouds. And so, you know, if you're at your hospitals and you're trying to figure out if you need to evacuate or do some precautionary measures, this is an outstanding tool. You get to follow along what everyone's saying. You can see we have the media in here as well. And actually the media and us are probably the two main folks that are kind of communicating back and forth when we have these storms rolling through. But
hey,
real-time
Did
information.
you guys get an IV in that guy?
Say someone does not need it.
It's going to let us give, but it's not.
So this just kind of goes to show all the things that we can do in here. I will say, as we get into the winter, we will have up here all the tools. So the website I just showed you about the winter weather, that's going to be linked up here. And then also when we do have active weather, we're going to have this latest weather briefing link. So you go to the main room, you click on this, and it brings you, if there is any active weather going on, it'll bring you right to that briefing that I showed. And so it's kind of just a nice one-stop shop. Again, you can get it on your phone, an app on your phone. And not only do you have access to all of our, stuff that we put together, but if you read through that and you still have a question, real quickly, you can just type in whatever you want in here, send it, and our meteorologist will see it right away. So it's an awesome tool. Like I said, if you are not signed up for it, I highly, highly recommend you get into it. We will be having our conference calls out of here. What we're going to end up doing is posting a video briefing, 5 minutes or less of what's coming, what big impactful weather we're going to have. And then after that, we're going to open up basically a live question and answer session that you can hop in after you watch the briefing and ask questions. It's called a huddle. And so really excited to roll this out for this winter. So anyway, I will stop harping on that. So that's what we call Nebius Chat 2.0 or Slack, if you hear it called Slack. I think I just closed my presentation. I did. Let me try that again. Let me get to where I was. Apologies. All right. So kind of just summing that up, we are here 24/7, 365. So I really want to kind of hit on that please, please, please put this number in your phone, 447-1887, 636 area code. Again, we're staffed 24/7. So if you have any questions whatsoever about the weather that's affecting something of your decisions, don't ever hesitate to reach out, whether it's calling us, whether it's that chat that I just showed you. We are staffed 24/7 for exactly that reason, to help you out no matter what. So while I do have a little bit of time, I did want to show this page as well. So here's kind of my slide that has all the information on it. So I'll pull that up here again in a second. But this is another great website. It's just called weather.gov/forecast points. So all you got to do is kind of zoom in on the, your interests. So I'll pick on Belleville here. And it's a nice tabular format of the forecast. So your max temperatures, and it's kind of color coded by impact. So if it's really hot, these max temperatures would be really like red and brown. If it was really cold, they'd be really blue. So it gives you kind of the max temp, min temp, any other types of information that you would want, the chance of precipitation. So you can see by Monday, we've got a 60% chance of rain in Belleville. So heads up on that. The chance with thunder with that's only about 20%. So it doesn't look like we're going to see a whole lot of thunder with that, but maybe a little bit. And then if you wanted hourly, so here's an hourly table. So, let's say you got an event today outside. You want to know what the temperature is going to be at 3 o'clock. Well, 3 o'clock in Belleville, it's going to be 45. The wind chill is going to be 41. A wind speed of 7 with wind gusts around 10 miles an hour out of the west-southwest. So all sorts of information on here for you to all peruse. So I'll leave that up. Again, that's all the sites that I showed you. If you want to register for that Nebius Chat 2.0, head to this URL here. And Lee or Phil, I can certainly give this to the group as well, so everyone has access to this presentation. And then also St. Louis/winners, those winter probabilities I showed, and then that last site is that forecast points. So with that, I will open it up. Any questions? Looks like I do have one here. So Aaron got kicked out. Bummer. Any questions for me? I put you all to sleep. Perfect.
Well, thank you, Kevin. No, that was awesome. I do think, as we prep to go to the International Association of Emergency Managers tomorrow, we'll be gone for a weekly, and we always dig in at the NWS booth and whatever presentations. So, and I know this is something that we've moved forward on our side, and I do think the services that you guys offer, one are great. We forward them out as much as we can, but can kind of wean us off of some other products that we use. You know what I'm saying? Having this variety of things. I can remember, you go back 20 years, you got a bulletin, or you just got kind of a Serialite format message, or, cryptic email or whatever. Things are becoming more and more collaborative. And we really appreciate, what you guys are bringing to the fight, so to speak, to help folks better leverage information to make better timely decisions. Your point about saving money is key. And if folks kind of thought like that, more so, we'd better be able to apply whatever response measures or preparation or mitigation measures that we have in our plans without kind of wasting money. And understandably, that weather is weather, and we may be anticipating 12 inches and get none. That still can happen. That's a real thing.
Right. Unfortunately for us, yes. Unfortunately, that does happen. But no, you make great points. And I will say, the packets, especially, so those emails you reference and the packets that I showed, if feedback is crucial on those. If we're sending out information that either you don't understand, or you need more, maybe, you want wind data or temperature data or whatever is not on there, let me know. We're more than willing to add things, subtract things, and make it easier on all of you. Because these were all created to help you all make decisions. And so if they're not doing that, we should change them up.
Indeed. Okay. Well, thank you. Please feel free to put more questions or anything in the chat. As long as Kevin's on, I'm sure he can answer those back. But if you got to jump off, totally understand. We will catch up with you next time. Thank you very much, Kevin. And we will back to regular scheduled programming. So stand by as I pull slides back up. Okay. So we're going to move on. Second part of the theme is we are going to just kind of quickly discuss our HVA, our regional HVA. We'll talk about the workshop, what we accomplished, what we talked about. Hopefully, again, everyone had an opportunity to review those minutes. And so this will be kind of a breeze over of what we provided or what we discussed there. So, all right. So, few things that just want to put everyone, up on as we were kind of every year go through the use of some form of an HVA tool. We want you guys to know that, in the past, it's always been SIMP. Problem with that is that it was hospitals, and local health departments have access to it, but those don't cross over to our version of SIMP. They have their roll up, doesn't incorporate EMS or any other healthcare entities. So it's very hospital focused for what we used it for. And then again, health departments used it for what they wanted to use their version for. We will continue for hospitals. I'm talking to hospitals specifically. We're going to continue with what we've done in the past with the Kaiser Permanente tool for this year. So we will close out BP5 FY24 using that tool. So I will email out another version of it. All of you have it. I'm sure you've provided it all years past. But the ask is that you use the Kaiser Permanente tool, get it back to us so we can consolidate all of that information as in years past, so we can incorporate it to a regional HVA. In 2025, though, we are looking to move over to the RISC toolkit, RISC 2.0 toolkit. Some of you may be familiar with it, some of you may not. On that HVA workshop, if you haven't taken a look at it, it's been uploaded to our YouTube page. Jason Campbell over at BJC and as part of St. Louis Healthcare Coalition, he gave kind of an overview of it. In short, I will just tell you this, is that it's something that we in BJC are moving towards. And it is a parent-child relationship kind of deal. And what I mean by that is that they create an organization, the BJC Health System, and all the hospitals put their information in, and it runs very similar to SIMP. key is that it does just a little more than SEMP does and is a little more flexible. So again, this is what your folks who've accessed SEMP, this is what they're used to seeing. Yeah, some pros and cons. You can see those listed there. Yep, it's a very familiar tool for some folks. Yep. Cons, it is a convoluted interface. Sometimes you don't know where you're at, when you're at, and difficult to use and not as flexible as some other options. Again, very familiar, folks are very familiar with the latest version of the Kaiser Permanente tool. Super easy. It's a spreadsheet. You kind of almost can't mess it up. You walk right across. It takes you through, you know, what's the probability of this happen? What's the impact of it happening and how prepared are you? And it spits out a value, and then you rank those hazards. Problem with that is that it doesn't automatically roll up. I have to do that manually, or Lee has to do it manually. So we take all of your information, dump it into an overall spreadsheet, and do all that. And that can introduce potential errors. You know, we try not to make any mistakes with it, but we are human, not Android or AI yet. But I probably will sign up for that surgery whenever it's available. Anyway, as far as the risk toolkit, as you can see that, it says risk identification and site criticality toolkit. It is a web-based tool that kind of walks you through your VA. It is, I will say, on the front end, it's a little more to load up and a little more to get information, input into it. But once it's input, it's there and can be used year after year and updated basically in real time as you see fit. And that information is perpetual. It stays there. If you need to assign somebody new to the organization, if you move out of position, they can kind of move right in and pick up where you left off. Very similar to what SEMP would do, as it was a repository. So you could look years and years back over years back. This can kind of do the same thing, a better UI or user interface, in my humble opinion. Again, as Lee's put in there, you can see the cons. Initial setup will take a little while to get it started. So we'd like to move to this as the kind of primary tool for us as a coalition. And again, the primary reasons are, one, it takes into account a larger swath of the healthcare coalition. It's not just hospital focused. It doesn't have to be segregated from the local health department, or I can invite Chuck Kelly and the good folks at MedStar into that and be a part of it. They can be a part of their own version. So let's say if Chuck wanted to establish his organization, he can do some sub-organization. So he could say, hey, we are MedStar, but I'd like to do one for my folks, my Randolph County base and maybe my Belleville base, and do all those things and roll that information up, and then allow us to roll that information into our Hope Coalition instance of it. So very flexible in that regard. And again, having a wider swath of this is what the goal is, to really make it a healthcare coalition HVA, not a hospital HVA, not a health department or an EMA HVA or THIRA is what they'll traditionally do. So I'm going to pause here. Some folks were on the briefing that are or were at the workshop a couple weeks ago. I like to pause to open it up for questions, concerns, thoughts with the transitioning to a new tool going forward in BP1 for FY25. What are your thoughts or concerns that you guys may have out there?
I love the idea of it from my aspect, because we know a lot of the local hazards that you all may not know in Belleville. So we can give you aspect and then capabilities that are possibly here or not here that we're going to need for large and small scale events.
Indeed, Chuck. No, thanks for that. Yeah, having a broader, again, like I said, a wider swath or, wider berth of information, differing vantage points is key in trying to understand all the information once you put it together, if that makes sense. How about other
Bill, if
folks
you
out
check the
there?
chat there, if you check the
Oh.
chat, there was a question from Tim.
Oh, okay. Let me see. Do you guys use the hazards FEMA.gov and RI map? I'll open that up. Oh yes, I have seen this. I have not used all of each piece. I know it's all fully overlaid now. I guess about a year ago, 2 years ago, this was not finalized. But it's good to see that. I'll share. I'm going to share my screen so folks can kind of see what Tim's talking about. I did hear that there was someone else talking right behind you, Lee. So as I kind of share the screen, whoever was talking behind Lee, go ahead, please.
This is Aaron from Alton. I just
Oh,
had a
hey,
question in
Aaron.
regard to, for the risk stuff, I haven't seen through BJC or anything, but will there be training for this? Is there a training module on how to utilize risk?
So we
RISI.
went through when we were going through when we were going through it initially, we did kind of go through, TJ kind of led some training for it, but it was kind of initial user training, getting set up, etc. It wasn't really thorough or fully baked in. However, with the folks, they do offer some trainings. I don't believe there isn't like a training module built fully for it. It just came out of beta, I don't know, 2 months ago, maybe, this early fall, late summer. So I'm sure they'll probably build some stuff out there. If you go and search YouTube, you won't see it. You won't see a lot on there or about risk. The old version, I will say the old version was a spreadsheet that did a lot of things. And if Jason was here, he would tell you, it gives you data, analytics, blah, 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 a whole bunch of things it does, but it was very clunky. It was an Excel spreadsheet with a bunch of macros and Visual Basic behind the scenes, and very difficult to interpret. This version isn't as difficult at all, in my opinion, to interpret the results of it. It is very easy to digest and easy, at least seemingly right now, to walk through and work through. Again, a little more oomph on the front end to get through it. A little more work just to get it done. But once it's done, it's there, and you can continue to reuse it, update, and change it as we go forward. This is a tool that Tim was referring to. So what it does have, I will try to get, oh, here we go. See if I can get over top of, because I believe it has all of for folks that are used to looking at the SOVI index, the social vulnerability index, and hazard information that we do get out of the Shield Us program that each one of the coalition members has access to. We've talked about that a couple months ago. But it provides some information. Tim, if you wanted to talk to this a little bit, I can kind of be your pointer if you wanted, if you'd like me to, while you discuss. So.
Hey Phil, so if we're actually just starting to use this, but this along with, and there's another link when you do your whole community assessment, you can actually look at all this data, and it can tell you census data for the number of disabled people in your location, the vulnerabilities. So I'm really just starting to mess around with it, but we're right in the process about to start our annual vulnerability assessment for the base. But as I was just hitting Leah, we need to start doing this whole community concept. So I need to, I can't say that, the boundaries within the gates, keep us safe from, all the hazards that you guys identify. But the one thing that I wanted to, see is we're saying that, we're in a relatively moderate area. I wanted to know what you guys, what your assessment says.
Indeed. Well, in the end, what we'll probably end up with, when you're doing organizational stuff, it is a subset of what this would be, or a subset of what Sam's team and EMA, when they're doing their THIRAs, would be. They identify all the threats, vulnerabilities, then how that impacts the organization. is what, you know, those products will, you know, kind of push out. Flooding isn't as big as a problem for us here up here in Belleville as it is for our good folks down at Chester Memorial in Randolph County, because they're right next to the river. Da 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 da. You know, so it'll give us that. It'll give us that after, you know, we've looked at the information that is that kind of pushes us in that direction when we say, okay, yeah, here we're more vulnerable to floods or impassable routes, yada yada yada, and how that impacts the organization. So I do believe, I mean, if Sam, I know Sam is probably still on, but this is definitely something that they'll probably be using to help when they're doing their thyras over there. And they're like on a 3 to 5 year you know, update versus what we do, obviously, annually or biannually for hospitals at least. It's weird. The CMS guidelines for HVAs for hospitals is every 2 years, but HPP program requires us to do them annually as a region. You're kind of stuck somewhere in between those. And I know, you know, whatever the Air Force or DOD is requiring is, you know, going to be a different additional standard. So I'm hoping that we're going to get, I did look at this maybe a couple months ago. I'm hoping that at IAM they'll have something on this, but I didn't have it on the agenda that I saw, but I'll definitely be looking for some of the FEMA folks to see if they have any, at least a booth that they can talk to this so we can get a little more information on it.
All right, well, we'll bring back some data when y'all come back.
Will do. So, and again, I'll pause. We're still paused here for other feedback from transitioning to the risk tool for being for our regional healthcare HVA. Issues, concerns, questions, general thoughts on it?
Hey, Bill, I do have one quick question. So when things are situational, like we know that the river floods pretty much every year is considered a normal loss, but it also backs up into the Kaskaskia and winds up running up there and flooding out Evansville, parts of New Athens, and Fayetteville. Is there a way that it will notify that situationally that, hey, this is currently going on, or are we going to use another tool for specific events like that where we know it's happening, it's going to happen, just okay, it is happening.
I'm tracking. So for us, what we'll do, it won't be operational in that respect. So the goal is to be able to I vision this as a heat map in the end, to be able to say, okay, we're dealing with flooding, you know, or heavy rains over the next, you know, the forecast, because Kevin and crew gave us a great forecast. The forecast over the next 10 days, we're going to receive 3 inches of rain over this area. What does that look like for us? All right, let's take a look at flooding for us, or, you know, heavy rains. Who's going to be the most impacted, and then be able to look at that regionally and go, oh, okay, these areas here, you know, and kind of pinpoint where that can affect us. Now, operationally, that'll go in D4H, and we can, you know, visually kind of take a look and post information there. That will be the operational side of it. But from a planning perspective, if the HVA is done correctly and we can look at it top down, we don't see all the products that it provides here, but there are some ability to do that, that would be able to kind of make more informed decisions on it, on who we should be providing a focus to. You know, again, I'll use Georgia as an example. If it's, you know, if Randolph County is expecting, you know, 5 inches of rain, you know, in the next 24 to 48 hours, what that looks like, because we know that they have those issues, that it'll help point us in that direction. So less operational, but more planning.
Good. I just wanted to know which direction it was going to go.
No problem. Okay. Any other questions? as we get more familiar with it, just hear from just generally my hospital's perspective and BJC, because we are starting to use it now. What I'd like to do is probably schedule another review of this for one of our coalition meetings. Maybe we can do it for a coalition meeting, or we can do it for just a one-off education and training. We could have the folks at that manage the risk tool. They are making some updates, I think, this week or next week. So they said the next 2 weeks, there's some updates and changes to the management side of it. Again, as I told you, that parent-child relationship opportunity there. We could probably set up another, I won't call it a workshop, but just a dog and pony show for folks to take a look at it from a top-down perspective, and then ask some of the questions that you may not have right now, because again, we're just showing you, just talking about what we discussed at that workshop, to maybe, answer a question that you might not know you even have at this point, if you kind of can see it from top to bottom. If anybody has any thoughts on that, just let us know. Email, shout it out. Definitely. I see you threw something in the chat, Chuck. I'm just taking a look at it.
Yeah, they've got the online manuals for 2.0 out now.
Oh yeah. All the manuals are there. It's just that I was hoping that they had like some videos and some training. None yet. The manuals are pretty extensive. They go through it all. Not hard to understand. It's not like a bunch of computer programs and stuff. It's pretty self-explanatory. So, okay. Thank you for that, Chuck. All right, moving on to upcoming events. Yep, starting this week. Again, I told you Lee and I will be leaving tomorrow for the IAM. We'll be gone for a week, but we'll be working. So if you need to reach out to us, just hit us up on email. We'll get back to you. If you got the cell phone numbers, just give us a text. IPPW workshop. That's going on November 15th. If you haven't registered, please do. We want to be a part of it. That's where we're going to be talking all things. If MyTEP and how we've changed the calendar and all that type of stuff. We want to get some of your feedback. So we ask folks, for those who are participating in that, to come with ideas and information, what they'd like to see, where we're at, where we need to be going, because that's what we're putting in. So we'll kind of do a mini review of what the executive committee or executive council, we were working on our strategic plan. We're going to fold that into the full integrated preparedness plan. So we'll go from the term strategic plan to a full integrated preparedness plan. And we'll talk about some of the things that we discussed there and how that can shape us going forward. Again, we're talking very large scale things, major muscle moving things, big objectives, future, etc. National Healthcare Coalition Preparedness Conference is 28th to 30 November. Our project submission deadline, please get them in. I've seen several more come in. That deadline is about 29 more days for that. Next coalition meeting is December the 6th, and solar eclipse is right around the corner. So get your 3D glasses prepped. All right. I'll open the floor. Questions, concerns from around the coalition? Anything?
Hey, Phil, this is Beth. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yep, gotcha, Beth. Go ahead.
Something I forgot to mention, NIOSH has just released some information tools specifically for hospitals, healthcare type providers. I'm going to try to put this in. Nope. I was going to try to put the address in the chat. It's called Impact Wellbeing. NIOSH is real big on data, and they found the number of healthcare workers that were burnt out, which I think we all know. But they also talked about suicide prevention and trying to, keep the healthcare workers involved. So if I can find this, I will put it in the chat. Oh, there you go. Yes. Thanks, Lee. I think it's worthwhile information in your spare time if you want to look at it. Thanks.
Awesome. Impact Wellbeing. Yep. Awesome. Thank you, Beth. Anyone else?
Hey, Phil, it's Sean. Sorry I joined late. I've had meetings all morning.
Not a problem, brother. What's up?
Question. Did you guys have any discussion about the BD IV infusion set issue going on?
No, we have not. What would you like to relay?
Well, yeah, I'll give you a quick update because it came up on our SMOC call on the other side of the river this morning. We became aware, when I say we, BJC, this is Sean with Emergency Management for BJC. On October 11th, our main supplier of IV infusion sets, BD, issued a medical device product advisory stating that their tubing infusion sets may contain DEHP. I think there was some mislabeling. And for all of you chemistry majors, DEHP is the chemical that I think makes the tubing flexible for IVs. The problem is that chemical can impact the efficacy of certain medications and eventually impacting certain patient populations. So the BD and the FDA have not issued a product recall, and we are not like knee-jerking trying to raise the alarm, but just providing situational awareness. Throughout the state of Missouri, we did meet with Missouri Hospital Association yesterday and collaborated on a survey that went out to the pharmacists across, looking for some feedback. Again, just preliminary, trying to get some situational awareness of where everybody stands. But it sounds like Alaris has somewhat of a corner on the market. I think they have like a 70 or 80% share of the IV infusion market. So this is obviously going to be impacting, the country, if not the world, just like we've dealt with COVID. So this product advisory, they do have some links that I can share with you, Phil, if you want to push out. The company is going to be updating their advisory they pushed out last week, later this week. And in an email that I have, they also share some links to some upcoming webinars. Again, we're primarily looking for feedback from pharmacy right now, but I'll take any questions if anybody has any.
Thank you for that, Sean. And if anybody had any questions, please raise your hand or speak out. But yeah, definitely shoot me those links. I'll include those in the meeting minutes and this information so we can, help spread the word a little bit more and hopefully get the feedback required to make things kind of correct in the healthcare space there. So thank you for that. Any questions for Sean? Okay, hearing none. That was 4.5 Mississippis there. Anyone else? Open floor still. Announcements. All right. Hearing none, then we'll go ahead. Go ahead then. Yep.
Lee. Hey, one last thing before we forget, because we got to get it done. Next week, we will have Scott Klosterman, our clinical advisor, working in the warehouse a lot, doing some inventory on the existing PPE that we have. And then we're going to send out an email with a date for y'all come get whatever you want so we can start thinning out what we have in that warehouse so that we can make room for everything that really does need to be there for continuing operations. So expect to see that. Hopefully we'll have that by the time we get back from the conference and we can get that date set for middle of this month.
Oh, indeed. Yeah.
Even if you just want to hold stuff.
Exactly. It'll be first come, first serve. There's some good things there. It'll be first come, first serve. So please, 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 when you see that go out, be ready to jump on it. It'd be like Storage Wars, except maybe we can do some bidding on it or something like that. But it'll be kind of like that TV show Storage Wars. We want to get rid of as much as we can, so we're holding on to exactly what we need because we got some stuff. We just got some overstock. A lot of stuff that we have left over from COVID just needs to go. And we did pick up some really useful items recently. So from the folks at Stars and some of their warehouses, we've got some stuff that we kind of added to. So that warehouse is a mess right now. Lots of stuff. But we want to get it going. And if we don't get it gone, it's going hasta la bye-bye via a big trash can, because some of it's going to just have to be gone. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. We're going to close it up here. If you got any other questions, concerns, feel free to email us, and we'll talk at you in about a month. See you in December. Ciao.